This is total.
Hey, what the hell are we recording?
Yeah, and you're screwing up the intro.
What about my part? It's supposed to be our podcast, right?
Come on, man. I'm trying to be professional about this.
You know damn well there ain't nothing professional about what we're doing here. Welcome to Totally Unprofessional. It's Manuel and Justin, his two best friends shooting the breeze about nothing and about everything. We're separated by 10 years, 2 points of view on every subject from 2 different generations. Listen as we talk sports, events, and anything else that might come up. There's nothing professional about what we're doing here, hence the name, Totally Unprofessional. All right, this is podcast 2. I was going to say episode 2.
Well, technically it is episode 2.
Yeah. Monday's one is not up yet. The 25th is not up. So today's the 29th.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Today's April 29th. It's Friday. Had a hell of a long week. Sports-wise, personally-wise, this was a pretty turdy week.
30? What are you? 1950? What is your birthday?
It was a shitty week. How about that one?
That makes more sense.
A shitty week.
At least that's honest.
Well, it is honest. But a lot going on everywhere, though. That hasn't changed. I mean, we had a first round draft yesterday. I was sharing today with a guy at work. This is probably the least talented class of first rounders I've ever seen. Kind of ridiculous, almost.
A little bit.
It's almost a shame that everybody has to go in the first. That there has to be a first round. I really didn't see any legit first round talent this year.
I think the biggest question out of the first round was: is Ezekiel Elliott going to wear a half shirt for the Cowboys?
The funny part was one of my boys from work. He's a Dallas fan. He says, "Oh, great! Now we can run the wishbone. We got McFadden, Morris, and Elliott." I was like, "What are you, Clovis West or what? What the heck is that all about?"
Fair enough.
And then one of the other guys chimed up. He says, "Well, maybe it's just a wish because that's all Dallas has for making playoffs."
Touche. Man makes a valid point.
But way to blow that one up. But Jerry Jones, he's just like old school Art Davis.
Well, did you see who their second round pick was?
Yeah, the guy with the torn ACL and MCL.
Yeah. Next thing you know, they're signing Johnny Manziel.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something about that torn ACL and MCL. Cincinnati took a tackle last year, Obajaya, I think is his name. Torn ACL, torn MCL, same situation. You know what? He rehabbed it. He played towards the end of the season, and he's panning out for him. So those injuries aren't what they used to be, and they're the same injury, but with the technology and medicine these days, those kinds of those elite athletes have access to just ridiculous doctors. So healing time's not really an issue, but if you're mortal like us, it takes a year and a half, and you're off work and you're not getting paid. Right. So, but I think it'll work out if the talent is there and the draft board says take him, you got to take him. So that certainly applies. I'm sure that's what the case is with Dallas. I'd hate to say Jerry Jones don't know what the hell he's doing, but the fact is he's got more money than I do, so he's gonna be. He knows what he's doing for his team.
I don't know if he knows what he's doing. I think that he just is the ego-driven. The only thing that he doesn't do is stand on the sideline and call plays, and I'm sure he'd like to.
Oh, I'm even in doubt about that. I'm sure he's put in a call or two to Garrett, try to get him to run the ball or do something.
He's sending him an iMessage on their iPads that they have on the sideline now. That's what it
Probably. Well, that headset, we don't really know what gets said in that headset and who's talking into it. So that could be a straight line from Jones telling him, "You're calling the wrong damn plays. Do something else."
That's true.
But
Raiders took Joseph, a safety, Carl Joseph, I believe is his name.
Yeah, and they took Reggie Nelson from Cincinnati, so that defensive backfield just got a heck of a lot better, and
that's what they needed.
We saw what their offense was capable of last year, so that's going to be an interesting team to watch. And I was telling someone if they beef up their defense, that's a good team. And their defense wasn't terrible.
It's not bad. They were just thin and young.
Yeah, and that was the whole situation. But everybody's got to start somewhere, and they got a young core of players there. They're good. Like I said, they took Reggie Nelson out of Cincinnati. They signed him, and that guy's a good safety. He's on the older side, but you're bringing in a young guy to play behind him. That should work out real well for Oakland, as much as I hate to say it. Oh, I'm sorry. That should work out real well for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hey, I'm all for them moving to Vegas. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love that we have access to Oakland and we can go watch them in Oakland, but I'll fly 45 minutes to go watch them in Vegas.
All right, you know what? It's a $140 round trip, man. That might be as cheap as it gets to see those games. Not like their tickets are. Well, you know what? They get to Vegas, man. That ticket
It might
price-
go up,
the
yeah.
ticket price could probably go up a little bit, but
True.
that'd be interesting to see if that pans out the way. I saw that report the other day. I was like, what the heck is wrong with you? Come on, keep them in Oakland. Worst case scenario, you should have gone back to LA.
Let's be honest though, that stadium's a prison.
Oh,
Like
it
you
is.
walk up to there and it's cement, barbed wire, legit like prison status.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But hey, you know what? Oakland's got to give them something, and if they want to keep them, they gotta. Everybody's got to say yes. We want to keep our Raiders, but this will be the third time they've left that city, and Vegas ain't gonna let a team go if they get a hold of a team.
Yeah.
They've been dying for professional sports for a while, so they get that in there. It might be all she wrote for Oakland.
I believe the last team Las Vegas had in football was the Las Vegas Outlaws from the XFL.
Yes. Oh, Vince McMahon's failed.
Hey, say fell if you want to. Tommy Maddox got a job with the Steelers out of that deal.
He did. That was his second go around in the NFL. He used the XFL to catapult himself. I just remember Jesse Ventura going down and talking to coaches like mid-game and the access. I mean, it was a cool thought, but it was just he used too much entertainment in it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
by far.
it took the sporting element out of it. I know it had Vegas odds and it was legit, but they took the sporting element out of it and turned it more entertainment. And he used people that he knew would do that. It's a shame it didn't work out. I think every major sports franchise needs to have a rival. You know, we talked about UFC not really having one.
Right.
The NFL definitely doesn't have one. I mean, they really control NFL Europe. You know, there's no minor league per se
Right.
outside the college ranks. So
I would say that XFL was more entertaining to watch than arena football.
I don't know if you really sat and watched the full arena game.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty interesting considering the shortened field. It's tighter. You got those barricades.
I don't
on
like the
side.
short. The barricades on the side where you could put somebody over the wall, hockey style, is cool. But the shortened field where you catch the ball off the net, to me, that's not football.
Kicker's got to be a heck of a lot more accurate. Too, in there.
Yeah, in that narrow window, yeah. I don't like the motion of the receiver going way wide all the way up to the line. To me, that's not football.
No, definitely not. But yeah, they don't have a real rival. The better players that out of college that don't go pro, they tend to end up in AFL or AFL2, and just buying time, hoping to maybe get into the CFL or NFL Europe, maybe, and kind of maybe get a lift into the pros. But you're really just hanging on to something till you figure it out. Maybe the right term might be till you grow up.
Yeah.
Most of those guys come out of college, they haven't matured at all, so they need to do something that still allows them to be a kid a little bit. And football will definitely do that for you.
That's true. Speaking of wrestling correlating with football, there's been a number of football players turned wrestlers. The Rock, University of Miami,
Yeah.
D lineman with Warren Sapp.
Yeah.
Wound up playing Canadian football before he tore up his knee. Wound up becoming a wrestler after. Brock Lesnar played football.
That's right.
Tried out for the Vikings. Said it was the hardest thing he ever had to do was
Yes.
go through their training camp.
Yeah, I remember that.
Roman Reigns, who's currently the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, former linebacker at Georgia Tech,
Really?
turned down going pro to go ahead and pursue wrestling because his father was a wrestler.
Wow.
Bill Goldberg played for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Yep, he played for the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah, there's been a number of guys that have come through there.
I was going to say Ken Norton, but he was a boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another guy. He goes under the name of Baron Corbin. He's a former lineman for the Arizona Cardinals.
Huh.
So
Quite a bit of them.
yeah, there's a good handful of them that have turned that direction. Speaking of stuff going on, basketball Heat game just went final. They won by 7.
So they're going to
That series is now tied 3-3. Indiana smokes Toronto, winning that series.
I don't think anybody
Doubted
doubt that was going to happen.
Somebody better call and console Drake.
He's going to have a hard time with it. It's all good. But that's funny.
I'm sure he'll be talking about the Warriors and how he's a Steph Curry fan now.
Yeah, well, everybody will. I saw a banner earlier on, it was online somewhere. It had a race to the playoffs and it had San Antonio, race to the championship, and it had San Antonio on one side and Golden State on the other. And it's like, it's just a formality. I was like, well, I guess you're kind of right. I don't know. And then you got to feel for the Clippers right now. you know, you lose Paul. That's one thing. Then you lose Griffin, and it's kind of like.
Yes and no. I mean, I feel for them. Yes and no. Like, yeah, because it's the playoffs, and that's what it is. And to be honest, Chris Paul's accident was a freak accident. Like, like that was completely out of nowhere. But Blake Griffin, since his rookie year breaking his kneecap, has been injury prone. Though he throws himself a lot around, he's a flopper. He's well known in the league as somebody who flops a lot and throws his body around. So, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he's hurt again. Not at all. But, I mean, that's kind of the deal and a curse with Doc Rivers. Celtics win in 08 in his first year with them, and he wins Coach of the Year, the biggest turnaround of wins to losses in NBA history. And then the following year, they're looking at going back. KG blows up his knee, tears his knee. Then the third year, in what would have been 2010, they get all the way to the finals, and in Game 6, Kendrick Perkins blows his ACL.
I remember that. Yeah.
So it's a reoccurring thing if you're on a Doc Rivers team going into the playoffs.
Losing someone big, one in this case two.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
But I mean, it's not the thing. Yes, those guys are both superstars, but it's not like they ain't got talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got Jeff Green. They have Jamal Crawford. I mean, they have people that can go.
Yeah. Still got the draft going on right now too. You got the second round.
They're still in the second round?
It's still actually they're in the third round right now,
okay.
I believe. We were talking about the Cowboys. Someone else having a pretty decent draft right now is Miami.
Really?
They took that Tusslin kid
kid
in the first round. How about that? Having a picture of you smoking a bong and a
gas mask
come up right before the draft starts, and you go from potentially being a top 3 pick to all of a sudden being 13. I don't know. I haven't really looked into what they pay these kids now because I was so ecstatic that they restructured the way they get paid now in the first round. So I haven't really looked to see the difference, but it cost them some money. It did.
Other than that, what does it really cost him? I mean, he was going to be on a worse team?
You would say worse? I don't know because you had Dallas at the top end. Not to say that Jones would have done it different because I don't think he does, but you had Dallas up there. You had Tennessee up there. You had some teams who had the skill set that just maybe had a bad year. So, there was some potential for him to wind up on a Super Bowl team. I don't see Miami going to a Super Bowl anytime soon. Tannehill hasn't progressed. They switched some coaching staff this year. They drafted a running back in the second or third round. I don't remember here, but they're filling gaps. But I just don't think Tannehill's that kind of quarterback.
Yeah.
He's the kind of quarterback where you need that strong defense, and they don't have it.
Right.
They're trying to fix that, and it's just I don't see it happening. He could catch fire. Don't get me wrong. He did 2 years ago. He got his contract, and like most people who get that big contract, they go bye-bye for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll play again. He'll play good again when it comes time, but I just don't see that happening there. But that's where he winds up, and we already know about what happened over there with the hazing and everything.
Yeah.
So you don't know what kind of environment he's going into. They're going to start asking.
Sounds like a hazy one, judging by the picture.
Oh, yeah. Definitely hazing. You saw that mask was all clouded. I'd like to know who did it, but he's claiming he was hacked.
Yeah.
He's claiming he was hacked. Well, you know what I think happened is someone found a picture somewhere on his Twitter, because I think it was on his Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Someone found it way back when, and someone retweeted it. That's probably what happened. I don't think he was hacked. I think someone said, "Well, watch me take care of this fool." Yeah. They retweeted it, and all of a sudden, it's.
But that doesn't excuse him admitting that he's taking money from the coach, from the head coach.
Man, you're throwing. He must have thought that somebody in that organization is the one that did it because he just put his school in turmoil. Now they're going to get investigated, potentially fined, potentially banned from playoffs. I mean, especially because I thought, if I remember right, I heard him say we were helping my family with their bills. If they were,
they was paying the electric bill.
If they were giving you money for the bills, it's granted, it's not cars, it's not cash money to go to the strip bar or do drugs or whatever. If they're legit giving you money to help your family, and you're going to turn around and do them dirty like that, that says a lot about your character. You might sit there and say, "Oh, I hit that bomb, but it was 6 years ago. I'm a changed man," and then you turn around and drop dime on someone who helped your family? Come on, what kind of guy are you really?
That brings me to something that I have a bone to pick with in the NCAA is their view of punishment. Like, I don't understand how it's okay to punish a school and players that did not participate in shit that happened like that, in like similar situations like this one, and you punish the kids that are coming through for those things. A prime example, the Fab Five from Michigan in the early 90s, Chris Webber admits to taking money, and you take away their NCAA championship appearance banners, their Final Four banners, and all this other stuff. Only one person was involved in that.
Yeah.
So you penalize the other guys, and you can't, and shit like that, you can't act like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, millions of people watched on TV, and all, like, they know it happened. And you don't give, like, if a team wins a championship or a conference title or something like that, nobody goes, oh, well, the second runner-up is now the champion. They just act like it didn't happen.
They vacated. Well, remember what happened to USC once the Bush escapades were taken care of. They vacated that national championship.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, nobody... Well, it doesn't fix anything. And plus, you're punishing them now. Look at what happened to Penn State. You know, after that whole scandal with that coach. Disgusting. But they punish the kids now. They punish the school now. I'm in agreement with punishing the school. I
Yes.
think that you need to hand down some kind of punishment. But at the same time, I mean, you can't dole it out like it's the end of the world.
My question is, why is it not just a huge financial punishment? Why are you penalizing kids? If you want to take away future scholarships, that makes sense. Because you're taking away future scholarships of potential because, A, you broke rules. Now you got to pay the price for the future of not being able to pay for kids to come to school. Okay, I understand that. That makes sense.
Well,
Financially,
that's an automatic with what they do.
well, yeah, but financially, these schools rake in money hand over fist.
Oh, yeah.
And these kids don't get a fucking dime.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're going to tell these kids, by the way, I know you can barely eat, but you also no longer have anything to look forward to while you're playing here for the next 4 years.
At best, you're being scouted.
Like,
At best.
I mean, and that's a slim line of getting scouted as it is.
Yeah.
So now you're not getting national exposure because your school's in trouble as far as games on TV, and big teams aren't going to come play you anymore because you're not headed that direction. To me, that's a bit much. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I just don't understand why that's the penalty for somebody else's issues.
Yeah, they definitely got to look into that. I was, you brought up that issue with the kids barely eating and stuff. I mean, I know what a scholarship is. I know how it works, and I want to tell you what. If I know the education is expensive, but it's not his fault or her fault that it's expensive. If you're gonna have these kids go a long ways from home, it's got to be, you got to take care of them. You see a lot of these kids. One of the in that 30 for 30 about the Fab Five. They talk about Chris Webber not being able to go out and eat pizza after games or having to have...
Not even having a coat.
I mean, having his friends, having to buy this for him. I mean, that kid, how much money did he rake in for Michigan those 2 years? I mean, stop and think for a second. The publicity they got.
They were one of the first schools to put people's faces on a T-shirt, like the Dream Team did. The 92 Dream Team had the picture with the cartoon big-headed kids.
Yeah.
Michigan did that.
And so they're making money off his face.
There was no likeness property there for them to make money off of. I think it's a huge deal that the video game system that caused a lawsuit that the kids won in the class action lawsuit over that with EA Sports, I think that they should get paid a percentage of that.
I do too.
Not a huge amount. Doesn't have to be something ridiculous because it's a huge amount, but it needs to be a decent amount. If your likeness is in that game, well, that's unfair because, what about the other kids that are going to school? Well, those other kids aren't at that school for the reason that these kids are. You brought this kid to school and asked him to come here because you want him to play this particular sport.
Yeah.
Those other kids are there paying for their education based on academics or because that's the school they chose based on academics. That's something different. The treatment isn't the same. You can't look at them and go, that kid's the same as that one. They're not.
They're not. I would even borderline say they are working for the school.
Yeah.
And if they can't do more, man, if one of my kids was on a scholarship and they're not eating, I'm going to raise hell because, hey, I sent my kid there. I influenced them a little bit to go there because I thought you guys were going to take care of them. I'm not saying they got to get monetary kickbacks or special treatment, but hey, make sure my kid's eating. Make sure my kids got what they need for school. Like I said, that 30 for 30 kind of opened my eyes a little bit because you knew it happened, but you didn't know how bad some of it was. And that 30 for 30, it really showed a lot of what was going on behind the scenes with that and why Chris Webber left early. He didn't want. He says, I'm watching this school make this and that, and I can't even buy myself a pizza. I'm out of here. Well, touche to him. He went and made his money, you know. But how long you're gonna let that happen? You know, this system has to change. It has to. And NCAA basketball, it's big. I think the football program makes way more than the basketball program.
Some of these schools have their own networks based off of football.
Yeah. Well, look at the Big Ten network. They share for all the schools in the Big Ten. Okay, you got broadcasted games. You've got advertising going on. Where's that money going? You're going to tell me that that's the only cut of scholarship money? I doubt it. You don't need to be paying these professors $200,000 a year to teach something when you got kids who are barely able to get through college. You'd be surprised how much scandal disappears.
I was just saying, that makes me believe that there's more going on as far as kids getting stuff on the take than anybody knows. I think that any coach that says that they don't know what's going on is full of shit.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how high level your school is or how low end your school is. Any coach that's in a head coaching position at that level of college football or basketball or whatever collegiate sport it is, you have knowledge of everything and everybody. Now, like the whole thing with Louisville, with the stripper or escort, whatever she was, comes out, says this person bought for these kids. I don't think he knew entirely of it. I'm sure he heard about it, but I don't think he knew the full extent of what was going on. Yeah. And that's different than not knowing it all. You could say, I heard, but nobody really spoke up, so I couldn't, there was a dead end. I really couldn't go anywhere with it. Yeah. That's different than going, I didn't know anything. Yeah. And then weeks or months or whatever later, it comes up that you knew everything. Yeah. Or you knew something and you did nothing. Yeah. You know, to me, there's probably, with all that money that comes in, there's a whole lot more dirt than people can count. Oh, yeah. You know?
Yeah, so much of it gets covered the right way so that nobody ever finds out about it. But, I mean, come on, you're thinking Reggie Bush, Chris Webber. You're thinking this Tunsil kid now. I mean, names pop up. And Reggie Bush's, we didn't find out for how long.
Right.
I mean, he'd been out of school 6, 8 years.
He had to vacate the Heisman Trophy first, and then that led to this.
So, I mean, how deep do you want to take it? Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. But yeah, no, I feel bad for those kids. They're out there, they're making money. They're like I said, I borderline consider it a job. Janessa's boyfriend's a football player down over there at their college. And I always ask him, did they take care of you guys? No, they take care of us. And you can tell he don't want to talk, but kid doesn't go without. Janessa says he's taken care of there. They take care of their athletes. It's a good school. Yeah, they're taking care of them within the limits of what they can do. I don't think a lot of these schools do that, especially the bigger ones. Right. But hey, that's an argument for somebody else, and I think if the kids all got together, to me, it's always going to come down to you're either going to deal with it or you're not, and these kids are just dealing with it. At some point, somebody's going to get fed up and say, no, this is wrong, and take up the bigger part of the fight of it. Kind of what Conor's doing with the UFC. He's taking up the bigger fight, and on behalf of the fighters, like, no, wait a minute, we need to be able to have time to do this, and you're taking time out of our training schedules. We're putting our lives on the line when we go in there. That's touche to Conor. He's taking the fight on.
Now that the dust is settled pretty much on that, I don't think that battle is quite over yet.
Oh, God. I think that's
I think his part is pretty much over, but for the fighters as a whole, that's going to become a reoccurring issue. That it's not in their contract, because their contract states, it was found out that in the UFC's contracts, it states fighters are required to do a reasonable amount of promotion. Now that brings up, what is reasonable? Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, those two names specifically are doing far more than what I would say is considered reasonable. John Jones, not really. He's probably third, a distant third to those two, but he's a third. You're not asking these other people. If you look at guys like Jose Aldo and Conor McGregor the first time when they went on the world tour first, they went stop for stop. Jose did that, right? Well, then guess what? Conor had to double up because Chad Mendes replaced him. Yeah. He didn't get paid double for doing that. He didn't even get paid single for doing it the first time.
Because it's part of his contract.
Because that's part of the gig. Yeah. I just don't think that at this point for them, as we talked about in the first episode that's not up, that they get paid peanuts. They get paid pennies on the dollar. And if you want them to promote more than what's I think there needs to be more clarity than reasonable promotion.
Definitely.
Then they need to be accommodated for such because you're taking away their training time.
Yeah.
And they could say, "Oh, well, it's 3 months out from the fight." Yeah, but if this bastard loses, not only is he losing out on a payday, if you lose more than one fight in a row, people are going, I don't know how much longer he can lose again because he may be done here and he can't keep up.
Pocket long term.
Yeah. And these guys, they don't have a long shelf life.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely, like, money is a big thing and a big theme in sports as it is. We talked about this a little bit on our own during this week and we've talked about this many times before, football players and about how soft the game has gotten.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you get paid in the upper end millions, closer to the 100 millions, even if you're not a, like, top tier 100 million athlete. You know what you signed up for to get hit. We got dudes coming back from the military providing protection and freedom for this country that can barely find jobs and provide for their families when they get back. But these bastards want to complain about running over the middle and getting hit by a safety or a linebacker?
They say they need to be protected.
No, they don't.
Sorry. You know what you signed up for. It's just like, you know what? What's funny, you're making that comparison. If you ask a soldier coming back from Afghanistan, do you think you should be paid more for what you do? He says, I know what I signed up for when I went there. I knew that I was going to have a gun in my hand. I knew people were going to be shooting at me. I knew my life was on the line. And this is what I signed up for. You don't hear them bitching and moaning for more money.
Right.
Come on, motherfucker. Go across the middle and take a hit. Or better yet, if you're a running back, why not run through the middle and quit running away from people?
Right.
Now, I know that's a dead art now. But, I mean, the worst part of comparison, I hate watching receivers and cornerbacks because receivers have turned into such babies. He's pulling on my jersey. He's trying to keep you from catching the damn ball. That's the whole point. If you're not strong enough to fight your way off of that, why don't you find another profession? Come down and work with the grunts.
Right.
But again, that comparison, it's a good one only because to me, you don't hear military personnel, we want more money. They have a strict the military is a strict contract. Okay, I signed it once. It's a very strict contract about what you're supposed to do, what your responsibilities are. All right, there's nothing vague in there. You're a soldier first. You defend the country first. Then you're trained to do something. Everybody who signs that contract knows that. These athletes aren't any different. You signed a contract knowing what you're going to do. To me, I'm not a real big fan of it, but hockey players, man, those guys go in there, they don't know two bits of anything. They'll go in there and smash each other against that glass. Some of those body checks that they hit each other with make football hits look like nothing. Right. Even the old school football hits. Those hockey players, those are some tough dudes. Yep. You don't hear them whining about it. You really don't.
They wear those hits and those missing teeth as a badge of honor.
Oh, yeah. I saw a fight on TV the other day. One of them, I forget who. I think it was the Sharks. But
was it the one where the guy was like, come on? Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I saw that and I was like, yeah, they're going to fight. I stopped on the channel just to watch that and then I changed it as soon as they were done fighting.
The intrigue of hockey.
Yeah. Tough sport to watch.
If you're not Canadian, that's what lures you in, let's be honest. We don't get that kind of luxury of winter year-round like Canada does.
Well, and that's a tough sport to watch on TV, though. I tried watching it on TV, and it's just not the same. And a couple of guys talked me into going to a Fresno game one time, and I'll tell you what, it was pretty entertaining.
That's cool.
There was a guy skating for the other team. I don't remember where he was from, but man, it was a big boy. He probably could have been a D lineman or something, But when watching him smash into people, I'm thinking, yeah, you don't want to piss this guy off.
Right.
He's an enforcer on the ice. He never touched the puck. But he was looking for people to clear off the ice. So, those hockey players, man,
it sounds like what you would have done if you were a hockey player. But then again, I don't know if you could skate with the fuck.
You know what? I used to rollerblade back in the day.
The skating's different.
So I've been told.
Skating's different. I've done both. I've been ice skating. It's cool, but it definitely is different. It's not what you think it is. It's not like guaranteed to bust your ass learning.
Never tried. I'm gonna have to try it. They got that rink up in San Jose. I think they even got that one in Fresno every once in a while. But that's definitely something I might have to try.
If you thought you busted your ass at Rollertown trying to figure out how to skate when you were younger, try falling on ice.
I never busted my ass at Rollertown. I was actually a pretty good skater, 4-wheel and inline. So
that dates you right there.
I was
4-wheel. That dates you right there.
You remember 4-wheel skates, man?
I saw them up in my parents' closet.
Brakes on the front. How does that
go? Seeing a guy eat shit because he threw his toes forward.
Yeah, the wrong way.
Yeah.
Dipped it too far. I had a set of blades one time. I think I was like 22. We were living up in Visalia. And I told Christina, I said, hey, I need to get in shape, so I'm going to buy some blades. And I'm just going to blade to work in the morning and at night and blade home at night. And she's like, are you sure? I was like, it's a straight shot, straight. I'm 1 block down Walnut, 3 blocks up Divisadero, and 2 blocks over to Mooney. I'm locked. It's nothing. So I got ballsy one day, and I went over to Big 5 at my lunch, picked up the skates, went home. She goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to blade back to work. She says, well, you're crazy. Now, mind you, when I was driving, it was about a 3-minute drive from my house to the shop. So I figured at most it would take me 15 minutes. I figured, okay, my legs are probably not in shape. I might have to stop, wiggle my feet, just kind of get my breath a little bit. So I get on those blades. I get a block down the road, and I could barely walk. I mean, I couldn't steady myself, so I sat down. I said, okay, take a little break. I get a half block. I got to stop again. It took me 30 minutes to get back to work. I barely made it
Were
back.
you blown up by the time you got there, or was it just the legs?
I was done. My body was done. So I tried that for a while. So here's the interesting part of the story. So I get the blading down. I'm like, I got good. I was like, okay, I can control my body. I was in shape. I didn't have no problems on the skates. So one night I get out. It's a little air. It's probably like 8 o'clock. It's dark already. And I had a vest that I would wear. So come around the corner. I'm turning from Walnut on to Divisadero. I'm looking, there's no traffic, so I was like, all right, I'm going to open it up a little bit. So I just push a little bit, I'm opened up, man. I'm hauling ass down to Divisadero. And what's the skater's nightmare? A fucking pebble.
Oh.
I hit the pebble. Now, I wore guards, though. Okay, I wore wrist guards and the elbow and knees. Man, it felt like I was sliding into home plate except on asphalt. Looked at those knees, they were jacked up. I never bladed again after that. I even took them off and walked the rest of the way home because I was so damn scared. The first thing you think of when you hit the ground, because I don't know how far I slid, but I'm sure it was quite a bit.
Right.
I remember getting up and looking around like, oh man, I wonder if anybody saw that. That was the last time I bladed. When we went to Rollertown after that, we took the kids a couple of times. I hit the 4-wheel skates just because I felt a little more steady.
You went throwback.
Yeah, I felt steady on them. Well, it's I can still skate though. I got into the race and the kids beat me, but I put up a fight,
I bet you were part of the roller disco too, weren't you?
Gold member style or what?
Damn.
That goes back a long ways though. That's an old ass story.
That's
and I was a young buck back then, man. We're going like almost 15 years ago already.
But, young buck, that's half my life.
That's a young buck, man. But
we don't even want to tell you how old the tech guy is and shit. 15 years.
For those of you that don't know, we got a tech guy. We decided he was going to help us till he leaves. He's going into the military, but we decided to employ and give him some employment. So he's got some money to spend while he's here. But he's doing a good job.
He's on the younger end.
Yeah, so technically we got 3 generations here. Do you know what your generation is? Generation Z or Q or something? I don't know. Janessa texted me the other day and she was like...
I know what generation he is. Maybe not him specifically, but their generation is the entitled generation.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm part of the Nintendo generation. That was us.
Fair enough. Hey, thanks for Duck Hunt, by the way. That game was awesome. That and Super Mario Brothers. That was awesome. Brothers.
I remember we got that. My dad brought that home one night. He worked for a company out in Fresno. And he shows up one night and says, look, kids, when me and my brother were in the room, this is going to date me. We're in the room playing an Atari. We're in there hitting our one button and our joystick. We're just sitting there. I don't remember what we were playing. Probably Pong or Battle Tanks or something. And if you're hearing that and you're laughing, it's because you know what it is.
Right.
Battle Tank, you shoot the bullet against the wall and it ricochets. And if you bank shot it just right, you could kill whoever you were playing. And you lit up the room after that. It's pretty awesome. So we were probably in there playing Atari. And my dad walks in and says, I got a new game system. We're like, what do you got? He says, I got a Nintendo. I was like, we looked at each other. I was like, a Nintendo? Because we had heard stories, but I mean, we grew up reasonably poor. We had we didn't have as much money as most people. So we're sitting here and we're talking about it. And he's like, yeah, I got it. So we go into the living room, and you're good. No, no, that's for you, bro. That's all you. Tech guy's got some pizza. We got some Little Caesars going up in here. He's going to make me hungry again.
By the way, Little Caesars is not one of the sponsors of the show, just so we know.
We don't have any official sponsors yet, but if you want to send us money, we won't tell you no.
Right. But we'll shout you out on the podcast. We'll put out your name. We'll send you a nice note.
We'll even sign it.
Personally, it won't be typed. It'll be handwritten. We'll make sure that it gets back to you.
Yeah, so he brings it in, so we run into the living room because he says we can play in the living room. And we're hooking it up. It's different connections, you know, everything different than everything we're used to seeing. So we finally, after I think about an hour, we get it all hooked up. And my dad just kind of stands back. Proud fatherly moment for him. He was able to get something for us that, you know, we probably wouldn't have had otherwise. And I don't know who he killed or stole from, but I know we got it. So, just playing, by the way. My dad didn't do that. But he's standing back. We're playing it. You know, it's a new game. It's Super Mario Brothers. It's a new game. We had never played it before. There's all of a sudden there's 2 buttons to push, and there's an X on the left side, and you got to learn how to push up and down and right.
Well, you want to talk about simplistic? There was 3 buttons on the TV and 2 on the video game.
Well, hold on. Now, okay, so I will tell you. I remember this TV. There were no buttons on the TV. Actually, there was one button. It was the power button.
The other one was not.
The channel changers were knobs,
Yeah.
like on a dishwasher. You know, so you had to change that. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Anyways, so my dad's standing back with my mom, proud look. He says, let's leave him alone. So my dad they take off, they go to bed. So me and my brother, we're hitting this Nintendo hard. You know, we're going to beat this game. My dad gets up the next morning and says, are you guys still here? And he says, yeah. So he goes over and he touches the power block, the outlet coming out of the wall. And that he couldn't even pick it up. It was so hot. And it's sitting on the carpet. All I remember was getting smacked and watching my brother get smacked. And I told you guys to get up, but I still to this day don't remember him telling me to get up. You know? But we spent a good 15 hours on that stupid game the first night, you know? But
See, when my sisters came to live with us, one of them had the Nintendo. So that was the first gaming system we had seen between me and my brother. And so that was the first one. She had the Duck Hunt game with the orange gun. Yeah. Woof, woof, woof. Yeah. Which at the time was awesome. She had Super Mario Brothers.
Wait. At the time, it's still awesome. There's no... It has
Well,
lost its
yes,
awesomeness,
yeah.
okay? It's still a game you can play.
We got a
across
thumbs
the
up
room.
for the tech guy.
Yeah.
So that was like the first thing we saw, and then I saw a regular Game Boy, the full-size gray Game
the
Boy.
old one, yeah.
Then I personally had the smaller black one
Okay.
of the Game Boy, which led to me and my brother getting a Sega Genesis, where I played ESPN's MLB Baseball and Sonic. It was Sonic the Hedgehog was one of the main games, and there was one more. I forget. It was something Thunder. It was like It was like a Miami Vice version of a video game.
Okay.
Speedboats and guns, right? Then we upgraded for Christmas. We got a Nintendo 64.
I remember that.
Where that's
You
where
can actually ride Yoshi.
Yes.
That was the first time you could
That's
ride
where you-
Yoshi.
that's where we got into Mario Kart. GoldenEye. That was a big game with GoldenEye.
That's the first.
Yes, James
That
Bond's
is the
GoldenEye.
first game that got me motion sick. Was that James Bond 007? I
the
could not, because it was the first time you're looking down the barrel of the gun and you're actually moving through. And oh man, I could not play that. For
We
more
had
than
all the cheat codes, the
10 minutes.
paintball, the lasers, the big head, all of that. Then from there, that's when I started working for like stuff on the side, like helping out my parents, earning money to where I got my own system separately from my brother. I didn't have to share so much anymore because we were getting older. And from the Nintendo 64, I got a PS2 at the time.
Is that the slim one or is that the old bit bulky one?
That was the old bigger square one, or rectangular one at the time. It had the bluish green logo on the top. I skipped the PS1 just because we were still into the Nintendo 64 for so long.
That was probably about the same time though. Everybody started to get competitive because that's about the time the Dreamcast came out, right?
Yes, in between there, yep. So I had the PS2 for a long time. And then I switched to the Xbox 360. I skipped the original Xbox. I didn't like it. I had a cousin who had it. I wasn't a fan of it. But I switched to the 360. And throughout this time, from all the way back to the Nintendo 64, I'd been playing Madden. Each year, I got Madden. Back when Eddie George and Dante Culpepper were on the front.
Eddie George, wow.
I mean, you're talking like...
late 90s,
I'll do you one better. We had the Sega Genesis version of Madden when John Madden was still the only person to be on that game. It was a whole lot more pixelated back then.
Well, we're going to talk old football. You got to talk Tecmo Bowl and Super Tecmo Bowl.
We'll get there. Okay. So from the 360, I had that. I had two separate ones that I went through with that. And then I switched to the PS4, and that's what I have now is the PS4. And I'm glad I did. The Blu-ray player on it's awesome, and I love all the features on it. The Xbox One seems cool, but I'd rather, from the reviews and the stuff that I've seen, my sister has an Xbox One. I prefer the PS4.
I actually hear that the PS4 is the adult gaming system, and the Xbox is more. The Xbox got more of the kid platform games. You know, that's
you want to talk about it's all about PS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which one is that?
Yeah. So.
So yeah, that's the system progression that I went through and where I'm at now. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was in Toy Store, KB Toys, when it was still in Visalia.
KB Toys, wow!
Standing there asking for video games for my parents. That's a throwback.
KB Toys, wow. Yeah, that's good.
That's where I used to get my video games and my wrestling action figures back in the day.
Makes me wish I had saved all those old... you took, if we knew then what we know now. My dad used to get us an action figure, every couple of weeks. I used to have all the G.I. Joe action figures. And after watching 40-Year-Old Virgin,
then you're like, oh, they're worth money. No,
makes all those money, and you're like, oh man, I had a fortune sitting right in front of me.
Oh man,
I had an old school Millennium Falcon too. That was like, I was a Star Wars nerd then. I'm a Star Wars nerd now.
Boy, I tell you what, I bet you that didn't get you a whole lot of ass back then.
When I wasn't. To be fair, I was 7 or 8. I would chase.
Don't tell me that it was gone by the time you were a teenager. You ain't gotta lie.
Well, by the time I was 11, we had moved like 6 times. So yeah, it was.
Oh, it disappeared in the moves.
It disappeared in one of the moves.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you.
That makes sense. Then that's fair.
Yeah, no, that thing. A lot of stuff got lost in the transitions. We went 4 cities in I think 2 years, and so we were going back and forth. It was kind of creepy, changing schools back and forth. But yeah, no, the steady thing in our life was Tecmo Bowl. The old Tecmo Bowl. I think they had 8 teams on it. 8, maybe 10 teams on it. And the best team on that was the Raiders because they had Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen on there. That's how you know it was an old game. Me and my brother, we still play Super Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo because he has a Nintendo. I've got 2 Nintendos here. And I got a box of like 80 games here that's somewhere unpacked.
Oh, why have we not had game night here? Jesus.
I don't know because we don't have a garage set up yet. I got to put a screen somewhere. Where
we can kick your wife out of the living room for a night.
Sure, we can.
Just one night.
I do it every other night. What are you talking about? But no, when my brother comes up, he's determined to beat me. I just tell him. For those of you that don't know, that game was made around the late '80s. So the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm a Bengal fan. They got Boomer Esiason, Nicky Woods, James Brooks on the offensive side.
Oh yeah, the team that lost to the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the team that lost to the Niners in the Super Bowl. Yeah. But it's a good Cincinnati team. That was one of the times where they're, 87 to 91, they were a pretty decent team. So that team's good in there. And he's insisted on using Dallas, which is pre-Troy Aikman days, but post-Roger Staubach days. So that little lull where they went into good. But he insists on using them, So he can't beat me. I don't care what the hell.
See, that's like me and my brother. I play all the sports games. I play Madden. Now I play MLB The Show. It's a specific PlayStation game. I have UFC games, UFC 2. NBA 2K, I get that game every year. Those are games, WWE 2K. All sports games, I get those games for sure every year. Every once in a while, I'll get the itch to play a shooter game just to mix it up and be different. Well, it don't matter what the hell I do. Jake just smoked me every time. So this time, about 2 weeks ago, I bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to play this game for like 2 weeks before I tell him I have this damn thing. I'm going to have an edge on him. I'm going to come up in here and tell him, hey, let's play. I'll be like, when'd you get that? Oh, today. And then smoke him. Soon as we started playing, literally 2 games in, I'm getting smoked 7-1, 11-4. I'm just like, and he's laughing. He thinks it's hilarious. Like, he's just like, how long you been playing this game for real? About 2 weeks. You still suck. Just walks out. Like, you fucking kidding me? Like, every time. Doesn't matter what game it is. Shooting, can't get him. Just can't get a hold of him. It's ridiculous.
Me and my brother, we don't play anything other than that Super Tecmo Bowl. Matter of fact, I think he still owes me money for the last time. That's how he convinces himself he's going to win.
He puts money on the line?
He puts money on the line. If I put money on the line, you're not going to beat me. I'm sorry, you're not going to beat me either way. It really doesn't matter what you're going to do. You're not going to beat me at this game. It's just not how it works. There's just some things, big brother, you're just never going to get the edge on him. So, but that makes our gatherings rather fun. He doesn't leave until we have our game.
Oh, that's cool then.
And So we spend, we'll hook up the Nintendo and then spend 5 minutes blowing out the cartridge. We got to pull out the Q-tips to wipe the
Yeah,
car.
you got to go through the whole progress, the progression.
You got to push the game down, push to the side.
That's
put
right.
Cardboard in there. You got to go through your whole regiment.
That's right.
Get that stupid game to work.
Kids don't know nothing about that these days.
No. Actually,
They got machines that the PS4 eats the disc for you. You don't even got to push it. It just takes it for you.
I found a guy in Farmersville actually rebuilds them so that you don't have to move them. It actually sets the cartridge in pretty good. It's pretty good.
Nice.
I hooked him up with a couple of favors last time I ran into him over there.
Hey, whoa.
Well, hey.
Pause. Couple favors, huh?
Yeah, I hooked him. I can't disclose what I did for him. It wasn't sexual, let's say.
I hope not.
I did some favors for him
If that was your favors, me and you as friends are going to have a discussion about what you're doing on the side.
So he hooks it up whenever I need mine fixed. But you're talking about Madden. I was a real big PC Madden guy in the mid-'90s, about 96, 97. And I was actually ranked third on the Madden network on the PC. I was like 225 or something like that. I actually stopped playing, and I want to say it was 98 or 99 when the AI came out, and you could grow your players, or train them, or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
It just got ridiculous because, I mean, let's face it, I had 3 kids at that time, and I don't have the time to sit there and grow a player from 0 to 99 to where he never drops a ball. Or he catches the ball that's 10 feet over him. I mean, it got ridiculous to me. Come on, just pick a team and let's go. Let's go toe to toe.
Now, you having a son that's into video games and stuff, how do you feel about getting your ass handed to you when you play him? Do you do it for the experience with your son, or do you legit? Knowing you're a competitor, and so you're like me. Like, you don't take losses easy. I arm wrestle my 5-year-old nephew, and I don't let him win every time just because I feel like I can't do it. I just can't take that many losses in a row. It just. I mean, I'll sell it for a little while, but every now and again, Uncle's got to show him who's boss.
I'll tell you what, man. I don't even go near games with him because he kicks my ass. It's just the bottom line. One day I came home, and I think I worked late at night, so I came home real early in the morning, like 7 or 8, and everybody's gone, went to sleep. You're not going to sleep much at that time of the day because the sun's out, especially if you're not used to it.
Right.
So I got up about 12 or 1, a couple hours of sleep, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to, kind of like your mentality, I said, I'm going to practice this game a little bit. When this kid comes, I'm going to whoop his ass. That's what I'm going to do. So, I'm playing, it was the Call of Duty, I think it was the Ghost one. But I'm logged in on his profile, so I'm playing people online, and I'm dying. I get blown up.
You're killing his stats.
Dying. Well, forget the stats, okay? This is before I really, really looked into it and figured out what they were doing with online gaming. He comes in the door. I didn't realize what time. I had been on the damn thing for a couple hours, and I hadn't done that in ages. So he comes in the door, and he says, "Are you playing Call of Duty?" I said, "Yes, I am." "You're not on my profile, are you?" I said, "Yeah, but I keep dying." He's like, "Give me the controller." I was like, whoa, what's going on here? He goes, "Oh, man, Dad." And then I guess he goes to the chat screen, and there's just people telling me off because I'm ruining ambushes, and I'm blowing things up that I shouldn't be. And there's so much randomness to what I was doing as opposed to, and I think, if I remember right, one of the guys on there said, "Man, you used to be a good player. What are you doing?" But again, I didn't know where the chat window was, and I didn't know that there was actually stats kept. And I'm thinking, man, I'm just playing a video game. Where is this gone, man? What happened to just playing a video game?
Don't work like that.
It ain't like that no more. So I was banned from using his Xbox after that. He'll play with me. We'll get together. We like to hunt zombies together on there. So we'll play the zombie version, but he don't let me go online anymore. He said I have to make my own profile if I do that, which means I got to get my own Xbox because he won't let me play one. He doesn't want me on his team.
Well, you can sign in and out of a different profile.
But usually that locks you on the same team, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, he must have lied to me just to keep. Yeah, I think it slides you on the same team if you're.
Now, if you're on your own profile, it keeps you on your own thing. It wouldn't affect his.
No. That's what I'm saying though. But if it splits the screen.
Oh yeah,
but you guys are on the same team.
Oh yeah.
So like I gotta be his teammate, and with my ass dying, my die 5 times to his 1, if that. So I'm ruining. We're losing.
Yeah.
And then it hits his stats. He's got 1 team loss or however they keep track of that crap. So he doesn't like playing that, but he don't mind playing the zombie. I forget what game we got him not too long ago, and he said, "Hey, we got to rotate on this till we beat it." And I was like, "Okay." So I was playing it, and I didn't want to give up the controller. So I was like, "No, I keep dying in the same spot. I can get by that spot." And he's like, "You're not gonna get by it, Dad. Just give me the controller." No, I bought it. I'm gonna play. Yeah, we go back and forth. This is pretty awesome.
All of a sudden, you become 13 real fast.
Oh, real quick. With Big Baby at that point.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, no, that's the Madden. I played that real consistent. And here's the fun part to date me again. When I was playing that, I was using dial-up internet. you know, you
Poor
gotta
guy.
log into the internet.
Yeah.
So you're on dial-up and you have a disconnection percentage that used to go tag next to your name.
Yep.
So I remember people used to ask me, how do you finish so many games? I don't quit games when they go into buffer because they would buffer a lot sometimes, especially when the network got heavy. So people would be like, "Oh, you got a real low disconnection percentage," and I just try to stay on it, but it's kind of like,
I tell you what, that sounds like a son of a bitch if you're watching a dirty movie.
oh, you know what? I didn't even try to think back there. We're still video cassettes, I think. Video cassettes, maybe DVDs. I don't know.
Hey, to me, it's not fair that teenage men, the teenage boys, I should say, not men, teenage boys have the free access of the internet that they do. They need to start with from the very beginning. You only get magazines and catalogs.
And not only
that's
that,
it.
If mom finds them, you get your ass kicked.
Yes. Yes. There's no more. I found your son on the internet on a website that he shouldn't have been. I need you to talk to him. No, you get a fucking whooping like the rest of us took when we got in trouble.
What the hell is this? Looks like a cassette. I know what it is. What's on it? I don't know. Let me pop it in. Don't you put that in there.
First time I ever bought my first dirty movie, it was a DVD, and I thought I was being smart that I put it underneath my bed. I thought I was smart, right? So my mom comes in, and my room's a mess. I'm very OCD about where I keep my stuff, but the room could look like a mess. But I know where everything is.
Okay.
Well, they don't think that. When I was that age, my mom would come in, clean the room if I had gone a couple days without touching the room. So one day I get home from basketball practice, and I'm coming in the door, and sitting down, eating the leftovers that were at dinner, and I'm sitting at the table. My dad comes and sits down next to me. He goes, "Hey, I got a question for you." I said, "Yeah?" He goes, "I know you're old enough. Obviously you have money." He goes, "But did you think that we weren't gonna know?" And I'm thinking, "Oh shit, what did they know?" Like, now I'm thinking of all the things I've been doing, at that age. I'm like, "Oh shit." So I'm like, "Well, now I'm in trouble. What did he do?" And he goes, "Me and you have had this talk before about stuff like this, and to be quite honest, it embarrassed the hell out of your mother." And I'm thinking, what did I do to embarrass my mom? It's my mom. So then he goes, "She was cleaning your room, and there was clothes, and one of them was underneath your bed. A shirt or something was hanging out underneath your bed, and she reached down there to pick up your laundry, and there was a video underneath your bed." I said, "Oh, yeah, that's mine." And I owned up to it, thinking like, "Oh, okay, like I'm just going to take this one on the chin and be done with it." Oh, no. I had to have a discussion with my father about keeping that shit away from my mother. And then when the discussion's over, I'm thinking I'm off the hook. I said, "Well, obviously she picked it up and didn't leave it." I said, "Can I have it back?" He goes, "Hell no, you can't have it back." So then he turns around and he waits till my mom goes to bed, and he goes to give it to me back. He pulls it off the top of a hutch in the kitchen, and the damn thing's wrapped in tinfoil because they don't want to look at the cover. I was like, "Damn."
Oh man. At least I'm not watching gay porn, right?
I said, "At least like I'm, looking at girls. I mean, shit." And then I threw in there, "Well, at least I'm not bringing girls home and doing this. Like, at least I'm handling this myself." Then you hear from the other room, "I don't need to hear that."
Oh man. I don't even remember how old I was. Jeez. I think I was in high school when that first time I got it. Well, it'd really be the only time because my parents divorced when I was 11. So I think my mom ran across something. I was probably like 14, but I think by that, if I was 15, this was junior already. And I think by that time she had already figured out that I was already active. So she was just like, "Is that yours?" "Yeah." Okay. Are you being safe? Yeah. Do we need to buy you any? No. All right. I don't want to have to buy you any, but if I need to, I will. No, Mom, we're good. All right. You'll tell me if you're... Yes, I will. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I had some freedom, but there's a lot of regrets that come with that too, though, you know. But no, I probably had them stashed in my room forever, but my mom didn't really go around my room because she wasn't really home. So like I said, they divorced, so there was no, my mom was working 2 jobs, so I never got caught, in that situation like that with my dad, and I'm not sure my dad would have said much anyways.
Yeah.
I'm not, I mean, at that point, I don't know what he could have said. I know the talk my brother got, but I mean, that's a different scenario because my brother was living with my dad. So it's a whole other scenario.
Yeah, there at that time, like when the rule was I was not allowed to date till I was 16 because that was the rule for my sisters. So I had to follow that rule because by the count of my brother and my 2 sisters, I'm the 3rd child. So there was 2 trial runs with boys where they weren't allowed in bedrooms. They got, my dad pulled out the gun, sat in there. What are you doing with my daughter? It didn't help that my 2nd oldest sister, she lied about having a boyfriend, which set the precedent for everyone else. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So that was a big issue. Well, my dad, it's different, boys and girls. You have a boy and 3 girls, so you understand the difference. For my sisters, my dad would have rang anybody's neck and knocked anybody the fuck out if they got near my sister like that. Either one of them. Now, my mom, on the other hand, they're just girls and those boys. My dad's like, you don't understand what these boys are thinking.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get it.
I'm giving that talk.
You don't understand what they want. In their mind, they're not just friends, Well, that's not the talk that I got.
Yeah.
I got a different talk as a boy, and, my dad was like, well, be smart. Don't be stupid. Don't be doing that stuff. You don't need to be doing that stuff. So the rule was that if I had somebody over, door had to be open. We were either in the living room with them or the bedroom had to be open. There was no closed doors. Closed doors would have my mother come in there and beat my ass like there's no tomorrow. So there was a lot of that. Well, then my sisters start, getting older where they graduated and they went to college and they moved out and everything. Well, then they start coming back around visiting and, Justin's got a girlfriend or Justin's seen a girl. Justin's got a girl here. You guys never let us do that stuff. And then I became the one that got away with everything and all that. Well, then, I still have Jake, who's younger than I am.
Yeah.
Well, then, fast forward, Jake's 21 and he moves out. One day we're sitting there and Jake comes over to the house and his girlfriend's there and she gets up, goes to the restroom, and I can hear her throwing up in the restroom. I said, what'd you do, get her pregnant, you idiot? And he goes, yep. Dead stone-faced serious. I said, are you shitting me? And he goes, no. I said, do mom and dad know? No. When are you going to tell them? I don't know. I got to find the right time. I said, well, you're going to have to pick soon, son, because they're going to figure something out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell him on Friday. I figured it out. I'm going to tell him on Friday. I said, well, let me know. I'm at work. I'll come home from work. I want to see this. I wanted to see this because Jake's the baby. And just like in many other families, the baby gets away with everything.
Yep.
Everything. And so I'm thinking this kid just fucked up royally. Short of murder, I'm the golden child now. Like, I just got a free pass with my parents. Jake's 21, so at the time I'm 23. So I'm like, I'm golden. I come in, Jake calls me and goes, hey, I'm going to tell him. So I get out of work real quick. I tell him, hey, I got to go. I'll be right back because I lived right around the corner from my job. So I get home, and apparently he had already told him. My mom's in tears, and my dad's sitting there, and they're laughing, having a conversation, laughing. I walk in, and I go, well? And my mom goes, well, like, it's a blessing. And I said, what the hell? And she's like, what? Did you expect us to be angry? Yes! That's exactly what I expected. I expected you to be angry. I expected you to tell Jake off. I expected you to read his girlfriend her rights because she just had a situation with your baby boy that now he's forever locked into this woman. None of that happened. None of that. My dad was like, we already kind of figured it out. We kind of saw this coming. Like, we're not really mad. And it's a grandbaby, so it's a blessing, and it's the first one. Sweet Jesus. And you want to talk about somebody, I didn't ever think anybody could replace Jake in getting away with stuff and being that golden goose child that is the baby. My nephew has replaced him and superseded him far more than even my brother cares to admit. If Jake says no, Grandma and Grandpa say yes.
And that's it.
That's it. It don't get that way. So now my brother has to tell everybody, that he's gonna have a baby. Well, this discussion comes up with my parents and stuff, and then we start telling people about what's going on. They start letting everybody know. I start getting asked questions. Oh, so you're the one that has the baby, or is gonna have the baby? No,
not me.
No, that's my younger brother. Oh, I figured since you were older, it was you. No. So we call my sisters, in a group, in a conference call, right, to tell my sisters. And they're like, oh, they're all excited. They're getting a nephew, they're super stoked. Which then leads to both of them, not one, but both of them going, that's crazy because we figured Justin would be first, for sure.
Nice.
And I tell you what, to follow that up, living with somebody for 9 months who's pregnant and it ain't your kid, that will be a whole nother level of contraception that you have no idea about. I tell you what, that right there will cause birth control ideas that you ain't never thought of. When you watch somebody who's freaking out, who's hormonal, who's crazy, and you know that you ain't the reason for that, but you got to live with that person.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole nother animal, buddy.
I was luckily same situation. My brother, my brother was younger, but he had his first kid came. I think he was 16, and I wasn't here whenever I found out it was actually a basic training. But I remember coming back down thinking, oh man, they're tearing him up. No, you talk about babying him and moving her in and taking everybody. It's like, oh man, that was crazy. That was a crazy time. But so I was thinking we're gonna put up number one still, so it'll have a little bit of our history on it.
Right.
So I figured maybe at the end of this one, we're about there, pretty close.
About to wrap it up.
Yeah. So maybe at the end of the podcast, we'll share something we've done in the past together.
Okay.
We'll share one of the
good stories.
One of the many trips or something we've done.
Okay.
We already shared a little bit about our 2 capitals in 24
Oh, that's
hours.
right.
We shared that one already.
We shared that one on episode 1.
But we got we got a lot of stories already. We've only been friends a few years, but we're logging them, and we're logging them fast. So I figured we'd talk about our first trip to Vegas.
Oh, okay.
That was that's already been. Was that 2014, right?
Yeah.
I want to say it was 2014.
Yep.
I had you caddying for me on the amateur tour all season.
It was August of 2014.
I was working my way through the amateur ranks, and my goal is to eventually, hopefully, play in the U.S. Open, but that's another story. So Justin's caddying for me, and we're going from different courses. I still have not eclipsed the win record I've had from that year.
Just in case his wife listens to this podcast, episode number 2, I am the good luck charm. Okay, he won Player of the Year that year, and I caddied for him
all year. He only missed the championship. That was the only one he missed. But so I had decided the year before I played in a major over in Vegas at Paiute, and I had drove out there with another friend. Well, this year he's been caddying for me, but they don't allow you to have caddies at the majors. So I told him, hey, let's go to Vegas for the weekend. I got a tournament Saturday and Sunday. We'll drive out there and we'll have a good time over 2 days. He's like, 3 days.
That's 4.
Actually, it was 4.
That first trip was 4 days. Yeah.
That's right. So we first, of course, if you're driving from the Fresno area to Vegas, you got to take the 58 through Bakersfield. It's 2 lanes when you get onto the east side. So there was a big accident. We got stuck on the freeway for a couple hours. But so we get over there and get through the first day, and we go out there. I drive out to the course, and I'm in first after the first day. I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Come back, we have a good time. He's like, oh, we're gonna drink. I was like, no, I'm in first, man. I'm in the last group. I gotta be straight. I gotta be sober. We're gonna. I gotta be able to take care of business tomorrow. And he's like, all right, fine, we'll drink tomorrow. So I get up Sunday morning, go to the last
now, mind you were ahead by 1 stroke at the end of day 1.
Yes, I was up by 1 stroke at the end of day 1, and so I'm grouped with the second and third place guys. So we go through. I end up winning.
Well, let's kind of preface this by saying that this tournament wasn't just Vegas specific. There was a leaderboard that you could look up online.
Yes,
there were people from Florida, Canada,
Well, I was playing with a guy from Maryland and a guy from Texas.
Yeah, I mean, they were
the final
from
group.
all over.
These majors are open to everybody across the U.S. Anybody registered for the amateur tour events. So I'm paired with a guy from Maryland and from Texas. So we get down. I end up winning it on the 18th hole. Ironically, I won it by one shot over a guy from Sacramento who ends up being a friend of mine now. But so I'm stoked. This thing's posted up. I posted some pictures. I meet him back at the casino. I told him
that day, the first night, I was like free to roam.
Yeah.
Because you had to go check in, and then it was like, okay, I got to play tomorrow, so we got to get going. So I kind of roamed around. At the time, my sister lived in Vegas.
Yeah. So
I went and visited her a little bit, went and ran around a little bit, did some gambling, didn't do well the first night.
That's right.
That trip was just bad all the way around for us for gambling.
Yeah.
Talk about Vegas wasn't built on winners. That's for damn sure. Then the first day that you played, I slept in and then went and ran around, went and had breakfast with my sister, ran around during the day again, did a little shopping, came back. Then I remember your wife had said, I'm telling you, he's going to be a big old party pooper. He's just going to go sleep. And I said, well, I understand he's got to focus for the golf match, so it's different. She goes, no, you don't understand. I said, well, we'll figure it out. It's Vegas, And that year, we stayed at Treasure Island.
Yeah, that's right.
We stayed at Treasure Island.
That's right, yeah.
On this particular trip. So we go, and we're there, and we went ahead, and we're talking about the first day and how you did and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, damn, these dude's killing it. And it's about 8:30. Maybe 9 o'clock.
Oh, that's right. It was
maybe.
Early, yeah.
And we're having a conversation, and you're sitting down on the bed taking your shoes off, and I'm sitting in the chair on the far side on my phone as we're talking. And mid-sentence, this guy falls asleep. Mid-sentence. He's like, yeah, and then he just kind of tails off, and it gets quiet. And I'm like, yo, Manuel. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, mid-sentence? I'm like, damn that. Like, I'm not doing that. So I got up, roamed around a little bit. Then the second day.
Then the second day came up. I went out, handled the business. Called you up, told you I won, but you didn't know what I had won yet.
Yes.
So get back to the hotel to show them the trophy. And at some point, when we get a picture up, I'll put a picture of this trophy because I really don't care how old I'm going to be. This is going to be the badass of all my trophies because this thing looks like the claret jug. For those of you who don't know what the claret jug is, look it up. I have it because it looks just like it. It is a sweet ass trophy. It's glass.
It's crystal.
It's crystal. It's engraved. It is badass. Okay, there ain't nothing better than that trophy. So I come back. I show him. He's like, hell yeah. He goes, we're gonna take it up to the room. I said, no, we're not taking it back to the room. This thing's staying under my arm everywhere we go. So I basically got this. I'm still in my golf attire, some flip flops, but I got this big ass crystal carrying it around. Now it's time to drink. We're in Vegas. Start drinking.
Was that wasn't the first trip we did go to the boxing
Yes.
match. That night we didn't go drink that night.
No.
That night we went and went to the boxing match after the second round.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was why you said because when we got back to the hotel that Saturday night it was like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
It wasn't 8:30. It was like 10 because we saw
Diego
Alvarado.
No, it was Chavez, Brandon Rios versus Diego Chavez.
Yeah. So
which ended in a disqualification. People were throwing shit in the ring.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Because dude tried to throw him UFC style across the ring twice and he got disqualified.
Yeah. So we're midday Sunday. It's probably like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
We did see Marcus Maidana.
We saw Maidana that night.
We saw was it Roy Jones Jr. whose son
Jr.,
fought? He was there cornering for him. We saw a couple famous people that week.
We got some good glimpses that night. So we're walking around Treasure Island here, and I said, it's time to drink now. And there's one thing to do in Vegas for free. It's drink. Sit at a slot machine and drink. So we're drinking. And well, at that time, I didn't handle my liquor at all because I just didn't drink. These days, I can handle it a little bit more. My metabolism's a little better, so it burns it cleaner. But then I couldn't. So I don't think I had very many. Maybe 4 or 5 tops. So I think we were at the tables. Yeah, we were at the
started?
tables. No, towards the middle already.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
at the tables.
That was the one where we were betting on what the wheel was going to land on. $1, $5, whatever, yeah.
It was like a Wheel of Fortune type deal. So you had won some money and we were walking around. You're like, hey, I need to cash these chips out. And I was like, hey, you know what? The cashier's around the corner. I'm going to sit right here. And when the hostess comes around, I'm going to get a beer. But I'll be right here. And you're like, all right. So I just remember I'm sitting there, and the hostess finally comes up. I dumped like a 20 into the slot machine. And I told her, hey, I need a beer. And she's like, okay, I'll be right back with it. And the next thing I know, I hear, Manuel. And I'm like, huh? What's going on? Well, Justin's yelling at me, are you asleep? Well, apparently I was leaning forward on the machine. I had just passed out. And there's this little old lady sitting next to me just kind of staring at me like, what the hell's wrong with this guy?
She probably around 70.
Yeah, she's just staring at me. I was like, what just happened? But sure enough, I had a death grip on my trophy and my beer. So I know she got there with the beer. I'm just not sure how she got there with the beer. So,
as I recall, I went to go cash that in, and I came back, and I looked at you, and you're like eyes all fuzzy, like you're trying to figure out where you are, what's going on. And I went, did you fall asleep at the slot machine? Yeah, I think I did. And then we got up, because I was like, hey, well, let's go. Like, I got cashed out already. Let's go. All right. And we walk away. That old woman, like, stared you down. And I was like, what's up with the old lady? And you're like, what do you mean? I was like, dude, I guess she was staring at you while you were asleep, because when we walked away, she just eyeballed the shit out of you all the way out of here. Still don't know what happened with that old woman. I think she was waiting to get on your machine.
I wonder if I hit something and we just walked away from it.
That could have been.
It's old
That
stalker.
very, very well could have been.
So we drove home the next day.
But that's also the time that when we were driving there, it's the only time we've driven there in all the trips we've taken. It was 121 degrees in the desert.
We were watching that thermometer climb in
Like,
the
you
car.
could literally feel the heat
Off the
pushing
glass.
in the car. Like, it was
man,
ridiculous.
That was crazy. That was a crazy, crazy trip. Yeah.
That was right when we got there, I walked from Treasure Island to Caesar's Palace, because that's where my sister was working at in the Mac store, and also not a sponsor. I was walking down the strip, and this is like, we got there in late afternoon.
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5, something like that, by the time we got there and checked in and everything. And there's a limo passing by, and I'm walking. I'm not intentionally with a group of people, but I'm kind of separated, but there with those people. It's Vegas, so there's constantly people on the sidewalks going back and forth. And this white limousine is driving by kind of slow on the back end of the strip, and all of a sudden I just hear, yeah, Vegas, bitch! And I turn around and I look, and it's the people in the limo. And apparently it was a bachelorette party that was in the limo. And I just kind of looked over, glanced, kept walking, tried not to acknowledge them. And all of a sudden I hear, whoa, you! And I turn around and I'm thinking, like, they can't be talking to me. And I turn around and look, and she's like, yeah, you, Vegas, bitch! And she throws up, like, the Rock, like, double horns, like, yeah! I was like, wow. It's 4 in the afternoon, and this bitch is hammered already. Like, wow.
Hey, that was the weekend we were walking on. Might have been Saturday where I almost got my bacon tattoo, wasn't it?
No. That was a different trip. That was a different trip.
That one will get summed up the next time. We'll go over that one episode 3.
Yeah.
We got about 4 Vegas trips logged now. 3.
Let's see. We got
that was the first one.
2 fights.
We got that one, and we got Super Bowl last year.
That was the first fight. That was the first set of fights we went to.
No,
Super Bowl.
We drove for
Super Bowl.
We drove for the one we went to the golf tournament, and then we went to Super Bowl because that was also when we saw Anderson Silva.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the first fight. We flew to that one.
Time. Yeah, so that was our second trip
because Louis was with us on that trip,
and then we went back in July to watch Conor and Mendez.
Yep.
Right. So we got 3. And I'll be going back here in about 2 months.
July 9th.
July 9th, I'll be going back, but. Yeah, the bacon tattoo, that's a good story.
That'll be a good one.
No, I don't have it, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Well, you can't be telling them what happened. You got to leave them wanting more.
It's just a good story because, we'll talk about it next episode.
So episode 2 now. We'll get up episode 1 as soon as we can. It will be a little bit dated because we do give the date at the beginning. But like we said, a little bit more conversation, a little less sports this time. It'll be different every time. There'll be some stuff you'll hear, some stuff you won't. Like I said, if you're new to listening, you like what you hear, keep on. We'll keep putting them out.
This is straight up life. This isn't scripted.
This is just 2 guys shooting the shit, talking about old times that we've had, old times we've experienced.
Things we're planning.
10 years apart, a family, a guy who doesn't have a family, just completely different points of views. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you Monday for episode 3.